All right, going to meet a kid who's been with us for a while. I've been communicating with him for about 3 years. He's had a lot of success with the program. He's a new testimonial. So he's showing up to do some work, just to kind of brush him up, help him get more consistently into the 90s. He's been sitting, and this kid's 16. He's been sitting upper 80s, touched, I think 93 he said, but he sits more upper 80s, so here we go.
Talk to your mom about that.
All right, so this just shows you 5 years of camps, okay? So this is 5 years of camps and their correlations of what we've reported to ball velocity. So I have 5 groups here. I have the 71 to 75 group, the 76 to 80 group, the 85 to 85 group, the 96 to 90 group, the 91 to 95 group. Okay, so just through collecting the raw data, just through collecting the raw data, this is what it shows. Vertical jump, obviously a high correlation to ball velocity. Okay. You put you at 24, so you're going to take this, since you touched, I'm going at your highest, you're going to take this group down a little bit because you're at 24. At the same time, too, it's something that's going to obviously benefit you. Broad jump had a decent correlation. If it's a perfect straight line, it's a high correlation. This is a correlation, but not as strong a correlation. Still pretty strong. There's a dip when you go 86 to 90 between the 95 groups. So broad jump. See, these guys are closer to 9 feet. You were 7, almost 8 feet. So you were somewhere around here. So you would bring this group down a little bit since I put you in that 90 plus group. Grip strength had a pretty high correlation. Okay, look at these guys up to 135. You came close the second time, so 130 was better. You would have been 110, so you would have been in the 76 to 80 group. Grip strength, same thing, left hand, right hand, left hand. Okay. 10-yard sprint. What do you think about this? It's scaling down, so but it's still showing faster guys throwing harder. So that's a pretty good correlation. You'd be somewhere, you were 168, so you'd be better than the 86, 90, so you're kind of in between these two. Total body strength, these guys 410, so you're up there. That's not a high correlation, but there's decent correlation. Body weight, 195, you'd be up there. You're hitting some of the ones that we see with your ball speed. Height, same thing. Okay, you were 72, your wingspan 73, so you're somewhere close. Mobility. Okay, dorsiflexion, not a correlation, but it's interesting to see from 81 to 91 we see a correlation. Plantar flexion, not much. Hip internal rotation, we see a correlation, a big jump to 91, 95. So you're about 20, 25, so you're down here. It's something that would significantly help for you moving up too. And that's to the left, same thing. External, a little bit, not that strong. Extension, no, but flexion, yes, strong correlation with flexion. You were around 80. You were between here and there, which is kind of where you are with your ball speed.
So Brent, well, that was hip flexion?
Flexion, that's where the leg comes straight up out in front. Trunk rotation left. Obviously, I have more righties in here. So big jump to height, to 91, 95, not that strong of a correlation. Trunk rotation right, kind of the same thing. Bounces around until you jump up. So you were 70, so you'd be somewhere in between here and there. Not much on shoulder internal, even shoulder external, even though the 91, 95 is at the highest. So if we go all the way up, it's going to be interesting to see with you. Vertical jump, you were 24, so you're way down here. That's something that I believe is holding you back. Here as well, same thing, holding you back. Grip strength, you were between here and there. So watch, a lot of these, you're going to be between here and there, and it's where your ball speed is, between here and there. You were 168. So that's between, here's a 1.7, here's a 1.6, so you're between here and there again. Total body strength was a 460, so you were more in that group. That's good for strength. Body weight, you're between here and there. Okay. Height, 7. Now you decided in your wingspan, so you're more here than there. Hip internal rotation 20-25, you're between here and there. Or just one of the things that correlate. Flexion, you were 80, so you were more down here than there. Trunk rotation right was 70, so you're between here and there. Okay, so intriguing, right? And this is where you start using data, and it usually doesn't lie, right? So you're looking, based on the averages, you're averaging more between the 86, 90 to the 91, 95 group, which is where you are, ball speed. So those are the things, all those things that significantly correlate, we have to move up. So we have to move the vertical jump up. We have to move the broad jump up. We have to move the 10-yard sprint down. We'd have to move your body weight up. We need to move, we can't touch, your height's your height. We've got to improve your hip internal. We've got to improve your hip flexion. Okay. Got to improve your trunk rotation. Okay. All those things, that's what I said, you have a lot to work on. Things you just need to keep getting better at. So look, you're literally you're the first one I put in here. I thought you'd be fun to see when you first came in here. It's good to see progression. Of course, it doesn't want to open it. There we go. Just play it in full speed. I think it's interesting to see this. You've gotten better in your back leg, but look how bad you were back then with your back leg. It would just collapse immediately. Yeah. You weren't early trunk rotating. So you got a little bit better. You got a little bit better here, but then you just started overcompensating. Okay. So we've got to try to completely eliminate the overcompensation because it's just hard on your arm.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Something I found that was really strange to me is I went from topping out at 86 in all of high school, and then first travel game I threw 90 plus.
Yeah, but I think you're like your dad was telling me, you went from position where that was between high school baseball to travel baseball, and your position on the team in high school baseball, you weren't too enthusiastic with it. I don't think you were getting a lot of reps with, so it could have just been putting you in a better place. I mean, do you feel like when you went to your travel ball that either you were more driven to take your game up another level, or wasn't there was a mental challenge going on in that process, wasn't there?
I think it was like more stress in high school, less stress in travel ball.
Yeah, so a lot of times we do that. You know, we get put in a different environment. Like I sat in college and threw 86 to 88 my entire career, and then I leave and then I go to play pro ball and then I'm throwing 92 to 94.
Yeah.
The same thing. It was just such a different place, and I just felt more driven to play at a higher level.
This is what I also think. There was a little bit of a recovery time there.
Right.
Because they went to the state, and then there was some downtime, and then he really got committed to putting on more mass, and that's
Yeah.
when he really had a jump in mass.
Sounds like it.
You really went up about 8 or 10 pounds almost in no time.
Yep. You know, I think Carson Fulmer is not a bad specimen for you. I mean, he still does. Because y'all are a little bit similar, but he's a little bit better with his back leg. Not great, but still better. Just notice, you know, from in your initial movements, when your hips start to move away, okay? When your hips start to move away, you're already driving. Look at him. When his hips start to move away, he's not driving at all, okay? To me, that's the difference between a guy who's going to be if y'all had the same power and size and separation, whatever, that would be the harder thrower. He's generating power later in the delivery. It's going to be more linear because of that. So here's the thing is you just need to work coming out of your leg lifts to where you are getting more into abduction in the hip, more into internal rotation in the hip, so where your hips are down here and your leg is still loaded. We haven't started driving yet. So it's for you, it's just going to be a little bit of patience to where it's not trying to be so dynamic so early. It's kind of like in a clean. I want to have a little patience. I want to try to be so dynamic so early, right? I want to start to move the bar and then start to position the body, start to load it, and then boom, and then the power comes. The same thing on the mount. I want to be a little patient to start to load it, you know, get it in position, and then power it.
Do you think I should straighten my front leg? Because I pitched and then my front leg has hit the ground.
I don't really care
That's,
about.
like, happening.
See, you're thinking front leg, which we can talk front leg,
No, 'cause,
but
like,
to me, it's all back leg. You have to learn to sit into your back leg.
Which
That's
what
what
he's
I'm
saying
saying,
is
is
when
like
his
you
front
sit
leg comes
more.
down, it will hit the mound because he's trying to load his back leg.
Like you see,
Yeah,
like,
because
say,
you're
like-
not, but you're not moving. So look
Because he's
look
not
at
moving out.
right. Look at him. His leg's coming down, and he's moving forward. Okay. Your leg's coming down, and you're not moving, so it's going to hit the ground, right there. So if you were, see the mound declines. So if you'd you moved here, you'd have more space under your foot from your back leg foot. I mean, you still might have to do what he's doing. Look, he puts it down, and he kind of, just before it touches down, he starts to reach it out. But still, the farther you move down, the more space you have under your foot. So if I'm going to sit right here, boom, yeah, I'm going to touch. But if I'm all the way out here, okay, also my leg's going to want to be getting out because I'm about to land. So it's going to be wanting to get out in a position as opposed to come straight back down.
This isn't something, like, I knew this was going on, I just didn't, I looked at it differently. Like, I looked at it as my front foot being on the ground, my back foot coming off too early.
So front foot right here.
Like, you see how Carson, you see how his back foot's, like, positioned differently than mine?
When he
When he
throws
lands.
versus the back leg coming
That's
off.
So
what
yours is
happened.
coming off early. So why do you think it's coming off early?
My weight's forward. That's like how I saw it.
So why is your weight forward?
Because I have no idea.
Because you didn't sit on your back leg long enough.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So you're trying to correct it later in the movement. I'm trying to correct it early in the movement.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, I hit front foot, my foot is already off the ground. You're saying the reason for that is I shifted my weight too early?
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying the reason for that is because you didn't ride your hip long enough.
Correct.
Which means you would have shifted your weight later.
Mhm.
So just keep tracking it back.
Yeah.
And you would have found it's not riding that hip. It's not loading into that leg.
No, I agree.
Okay. Well, you're there, you're just not going back enough, far enough in your delivery. So, I mean, that would be the goal. And that's getting into more abduction. Your abduction was fine. You had 50 degrees. You know, David has great abduction. He's about 55, but you're close. You are stuck in internal rotation, which getting here is pushing into more of that internal rotation. So that might be limiting you. So that's why you might have the urge to want to go early, because if you feel like you're hitting into range and you don't want to stop. So that's going to help. At the same time, too, in a lot of our drills, we need to, or even just in your full delivery, you need to start finding ways to be more patient and ride your hips
I
just a
need-
little bit longer.
I need to work on my groin, my hips though, because it's like not easy to get down there. Like sit.
Yeah, it's not easy at all.
Like they just.
Yeah, and it feels it's gonna rip.
Yeah.
And I had Bob Wheatley here's all the time sitting here going, he'll just sit out there going, like in pain, just sitting there like, oh. He'll just sit there for 5 minutes
Yeah.
every day.
That's probably what I need to do.
Right. I mean, that's just stuff you have to do. Knowing if that's what's holding you back, that's what you're gonna have to do.
Very good. My only question was what I just asked them. He was right. You just cracked it back. I mean, I just have to basically like sit into it longer, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Sit in it too longer.
So when I land, I'm not as weight shifted forward and it's later.
Yep.
Because that's what I thought. I remember I heard that in the beginning of May, and because I was missing high a lot, missing low, right? And you know, when I got in travel ball, my command got so much better. It's like 80% strikes.
Yeah, I mean, your command's
Yeah.
been unbelievable.
And what happened was, that's what I thought it was. Like I thought that when I was pitching that, you know, like shifting here and then this coming up early. So I was just trying to sit and then like stretch out, land here. And, you know, I mean, you're right.
And that's what I was working.
Yeah.
So here's the thing is you just need help to do it better.
Exactly.
Because, like I said, that instrumentation challenge, maybe that abduction challenge, that same time too, holding your weight longer requires more of what?
Wait, say that again.
Holding your weight longer on this back leg and driving into front leg requires more of what?
Strength, flexibility.
Power, too, all of it. So if you're 24 inches on your jump, what do we jump in one leg? You might be jumping.
This is so he's all ball. He's intent and all ball speed. I mean, arm speed.
Yeah, you're a lot of
is
brute force. Like you're pitching like a, you know, like a Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson, you know, short stripe, early trunk, and it was just like, yeah. But he's a 3 Tommy John guy. He still threw hard.
But okay, but just think about this. This is like, think about if you can improve in all these areas, you can be a 95-mile-an-hour guy.
Yeah, I think you can. Because you train for it, you're willing to push yourself to that level. I think you mentally can get there.
You have
It's
to
just
work
you
at
have
it.
to hit the right components. If not, Stephen, tell them what the Kelly started thinking about going over cycling your body.
Just in movement patterns, he like described it as like a light switch. Light switch is it's supposed to go through tens of thousands of movement cycles. Well, your body is designed to go through millions and millions and millions of movement cycles. So if you're moving in compromised positions, like bad movement patterns, you're just accelerating through those millions of movement cycles. So eventually it'll just crap out and it'll burn out. So if you're pitching in bad movement patterns, you're just accelerating through those light switches.
Right, which is going to lead to injury because you're going to fatigue quicker. So the point is you need to get more efficient to where you're only using the cycles that you need to produce the speed. All the extra ones that you're burning through because you don't know how to do it more efficiently, it's a waste, and ultimately that brings you to fatigue quicker, and that will fall you into injury quicker. Because think about your workload when you go to college baseball. Is it less or more than high school baseball?
More.
What's your workload when you go to professional baseball? Is it less or more?
More.
So the point is like it's working now, which we see a lot of high school guys. But when you go to the next level of workload, is it going to work there?
Right.
You know?
And here's the other thing too, Carter. I mean, but let's be honest. You've gotten in the weight room since we've come down here, and it's given you some initial gains. But as far as the other things that maybe aren't as fun, the mobility, the motor learning, the drills, the plyometrics,
The professionalism of all this.
all the other stuff, you've got to really be committed to just, work on it just as hard every day on the stuff that's not
So
fun.
what we're
I
going to
mean,
do is we're going to take you from the high school pitcher to the college pitcher to the pro pitcher. So each level is just going to be doing what you do better. Okay? It's everything. Yes, you still need to get more powerful in the gym. Like, I'm not going to take that away from you. Okay? But you need to add other things in and get better at other things. So what happens, I hate to see this in guys where it's like strength is up here, power is, following, but speed is here and mobility's here. It's like we're so out of balance now. It's like, yeah, I love these two things, but not when it so far exceeds all the other ones. I'm more of a well-rounded athlete, right? So we've got to do better at getting our mobility up. We've got to do better at getting our plyos up to get our speed up, and balance this whole thing out, The example, did you hear Mark tore his labrum?
In his hip? Or
Yep, in his hip.
Again?
Yep,
Wow.
he went home. It's the reason I did not like Kevin's approach. They all were strength freaks. Like, that's all they wanted to do. And I'd go up to him on the day and I'd be like, Mark, because he had surgery on his hip because his hip socket was too big, so they did surgery. I said, Mark, put the sliding pads on and slide like this. He literally, this guy's squatting, what, 400 pounds? 300 pounds?
Well, he was power cleaning like 295. Yeah, he was probably squatting close to
He
like
literally just
350.
obsessed about strength with Kevin's program. And I took him about halfway out when I saw this dude getting obese, and I said, do these little movements here. He couldn't even do them.
Yeah.
He was like, "Ugh." So like all your small muscle groups, your mobility is shit, and you're building a brick house on top of that. And it leads to injury. Every single time it leads to injury. So, I mean, I don't think injury is the big subject here. It's just that could eventually be a problem, but you've got to keep yourself well rounded. You know, you can't let things overexceed. You can't be like, I'm the strongest guy in the weight room, but I got no mobility. That's just not going to convert for an athlete. That's not going to convert on the field. It's not going to keep you healthy, efficient, successful, right? So those are the things that you just need to start building in better. Just now that you're going to the next level, you still got time. I mean, you're 16. I'm almost looking at you like an 18-year-old, seriously. So you're still 2 years way ahead of the game, but keep that buffer. You should go into every level 2 years ahead of the game. That's what's gonna put you as a higher draft pick if you want to play professional baseball. All right, so breaking for lunch. We kind of sat down after the initial eval and we customized some training. He's been with me for about 3 years, so he's 16. We keep customizing training. So at that point with the 3X programs, you know, if you've been through level 1, level 2, level 3, we can start customizing for your specific to your needs, and we keep evaluating you and seeing where we need to keep improving. We can customize to make sure we're hitting that better. So that's what we did. He's coming back after lunch, and then we're going to get started again. I'm going to work on a few things in the meantime, and then you know, we'll get started training. So stay tuned. Check out our training coming up. All right, so let's work in the plates. So just work our back leg drives. All right, Carter, so went through a full day of training. You haven't been here in 3 years.
Yes.
Even though we ran into you with ABCA, we did some stuff there, but not much. So talk about just from your experience from when you were first here, which I'm actually going to show the video, of when you were first here, and just kind of the evolution of your career in those 3 years and what's really been significant to you through that.
Well, Coach really got me on lifting weights, and that was a big key factor for me. I started at 69 miles per hour, topping out
At
3 years
what,
ago.
13?
Mm-hmm.
14?
14. That'd be 14. 14.
When you turn 17?
I'm already 17.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
cool.
So 3 years ago, I was throwing 69 like repeatedly. I couldn't break anything harder, and then started lifting. And now, currently, I'm at 90, 91, sitting, and then I'm committed to the University of Arkansas. So I mean, that's
You're allowed to say that.
I don't know. Am I?
Yeah,
I think
you're
I'm allowed to say
'cause
that.
you're
Yeah,
not,
I put it on Twitter.
Okay,
so.
cool. So which, but you're on the top end. Your dad said you hit 93 on one. What's
Correct.
that? Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. So so the lifting. I mean, anything else? Like, I think obviously the lifting's been really significant. So what specific things about the lifting has really helped you in your development?
Well, a lot of the lower half things, lower half lifts such as cleans, front squats, back squats, and overhead squats. That's all helps me out tremendously because I've been able to load my glute. And I went from more of like a sitting and driving with my back leg and into like a triple extension rather than a tall and fall motion.
You got to
Drop
credit
and drive.
Jamie Free for working
Correct.
with you for 3 years, right?
Yes, yeah, he's he really helped me. He's a good guy. And
Yeah, and he's implemented he's implemented the Olympic approach really well for you.
absolutely.
I think the things that we've seen in this kind of session is just getting more emphasis in triple extension, getting more emphasis in trying to convert that into a lateral drive. Okay, and then of course you have some mobility challenges still, hip internal, hip flexion, little hip extension, dorsey, no, not really a dorsey, more trunk rotation. So continuing to improve on that, getting better to where your vertical comes up a little better with your max clean because your vertical is a little low for your max clean. So, and then getting more efficient and in your delivery and trying to kill that early trunk rotation. So, did you feel success today in those drills? Like, what were the specific drills that you feel like could help you in getting more back leg power, getting more separation?
Well, like you said, I have a problem with closing off my front side. I have early trunk rotation, and I think some of the drills that helped slow it down today were the med ball drills that we did.
Yeah.
And I feel like even before laterals to like the most simplest form where we did the first drill, I forgot what that was. Was that the?
The lateral drives on the plate.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
correct. And then those really helped, and I feel like that was like the simplest way to work on closing off and firing my hips and landing.
So what's your progression
more.
leaving here? Like, what, just for you to see this and be like, okay, what are you going to really focus in on so you can become more consistent in the low 90s and then push up into the mid 90s? What do you feel like is going to be that big stepping stone for you?
I feel like it's really going to be closing off my front side because I have early trunk rotation, and right now that's my issue. So that's when I'm going to really hammer. And then along with that, I'm going to work on creating more power and more driving force behind there by increasing my vertical and getting stronger with my lower half. And on top of that,
And more mobile.
and working on my mobility because it really is poor in my groin, my hip flexors. And so those are all going to be big things that will help me extend my front leg too going into launch.
Cool. So you feel pretty confident?
I
So
do.
we'll just keep doing this the next 2-3 days, but we'll just hit it a little better each time, a little different, and then sit down and make sure we have the game plan, right?
Okie dokie.
Thanks, man.
All right. Cool.